Ever feel like you're trying to untangle, all these complex global headlines, especially when they mix international conflict with really tough domestic issues? Well, today we're doing a deep dive into the Hindu newspapers edition from July 4th, 2025. We're going to focus specifically on the India-Pakistan situation, the importance of keeping things stable at home, and sort of the bigger picture of geopolitical diplomacy.
Yeah.
Our mission here is to really pull out the key insights from this one source, the Hindu, that can help you make sense of it all.
Yeah, and looking closely at a single respected source like the Hindu is, I think, really valuable, especially when you're dealing with these very nuanced topics like international law or how society reacts to conflict. It helps cut through some of the noise, gives you a focused lens.
Okay, so let's unpack this. The Hindu jumps right into it, the intense talk around the recent India-Pakistan airstrikes, the diplomatic friction that followed. And what really stands out is how the editorial insists on, absolute clarity regarding international law here. It's not just reporting facts, it's setting a standard.
Exactly. And what's fascinating, I think, is there's specific mention of Article 51, the UN Charter article on self-defense. The Hindu points out India's claim that the strikes were justified under this article. But then, crucially, they immediately bring in the counter-arguments from Pakistan and even from UN bodies questioning that justification. They highlight the very high bar Article 51 actually sets needing proof of an armed attack, prompt reporting to the Security Council,
Yeah.
things like that. So the editorial really pushes for both sides to stick to these protocols, to use measured diplomacy.
Right.
It makes you wonder, though, what happens when you have such different readings of fundamental international law? Who gets to decide?
And connecting that,
Mm-hmm.
what I found really striking was the shift the Hindu makes. They don't just stay on the international stage, they pivot straight to the domestic impact.
Oh.
Right here inside India, looking at the really chilling aftermath of that 2025 Pahalgam attack. Obviously, condemnation of the violence itself, but then the fallout, yes, protests, but also this disturbing rise in hate incidents targeting Kashmiris across the country.
And that connection is key. The editorial uses Pahalgam not just to condemn violence, but to make this urgent point about national unity,
Hmm.
about protecting minorities. It underscores something vital, how these external tensions can directly strain the social fabric within a country if you're not careful. That whole rule of law first idea they stress, it's not just for cross-border actions. It's also about the government's duty at home to clamp down on hate, protect everyone, especially when things are tense.
So, putting it all together, how does the Hindu see India trying to balance its own security needs with these, global responsibilities?
Right.
The paper really gets into the nitty-gritty of the diplomatic side, how India handles this tightrope walk, dealing with institutions like the UN Security Council.
Well, the Hindi's core message seems pretty consistent. Any military action has got to align with established UN norms, period. They argue that just saying we felt threatened or it was necessary isn't enough for the international community. Without a legally solid, transparent explanation for actions like those airstrikes, India doesn't just risk isolation. It could actually undermine its own arguments for following international law in other situations. It really boils down to accountability on the world stage.
Okay, so wrapping up, we've traced three big themes here, all through the lens of the Hindu. The legal knots in international conflict, the absolute need for domestic unity when tensions are high, and why clear, legally sound global communication is just so critical.
Right. And maybe a final thought for you to consider is just how deeply tangled these things really are. National security, international law, social cohesion at home. You see how one event, like those airstrikes, sends ripples across all of them. It leaves you thinking, doesn't it? How do different countries manage that balancing act, protecting their interests while upholding the rule of law and ensuring safety for all their people?